Welcome back to our journey into the world of worldwide goddesses. This is Deborah Roth, and this is my not quite weekly. I'm kind of moving back to maybe every other or every couple weeks to do. Hey, Terrell. And a little late today on Facebook and Instagram, but this always goes over to YouTube, to my YouTube channel there. You can just do Deborah Roth on YouTube and you'll find it, because that's where I put a much longer description of these goddesses that I just, I'm learning so much as I do this. So regardless of how often I do it, I hope that you find some that touch you the way that so many of them have for me. Their mythology, their qualities, the metaphors that they represent, the very real ways that we can invoke and call on them in modern times. These and this week especially. Oh my gosh! Talk about, oh my goddess! Talk about it being packed full of many multicultural, interfaith, multi-faith celebrations this week. Now, granted, people watch these all year long, and if you're watching this not in this very profound week, there's still relevance, of course, to the goddess that we're going to talk about this week. So, what I mean by multicultural, multi-religious is that we are now in the middle of Ramadan, which started, I think, around March 22nd, usually goes about a month. So it goes, March 23rd until April 22nd. Tonight, which is April 5th, is the first night of Passover this year. Just left a friend after 3 days, dear friend, after 3 days, getting ready for a lovely Passover celebration. And then in the Christian calendar, this Friday is Good Friday and Sunday is Easter. And on top of that, we've got some lunar things going on, which of course, is my love. We have the full moon in Libra tomorrow. The sun is in Aries. All the full moons are very much about the opposition, the polarity between where the sun and the moon are. They're always in opposite signs. And I'll be doing my full moon meditation tomorrow on the 6th at noon Eastern. And you can find that a bunch of places on my Facebook page, also Instagram also. So lots of energy flowing this week. And there always is for some reason or another, but I was just struck by the fact when I was away earlier this week, realizing that without putting it together, I was aware that we were in the middle of Ramadan. I hadn't connected it, even though I have so many Jewish friends, that the goddess that I picked to highlight tonight, the first night of Passover, is a pre-Islamic goddess. And she was actually part of a triad, of a triple goddess representation in the pre-Islamic religions. And in particular, the Nabataean tribe she was worshipped there, and in their capital city, which was Petra, which many people have heard of, now in the in what we now know as Jordan. And here's a representation of her, the triple goddess that she represents. This is actually Al-Uzza on this side. This is Al-lat, and you can see there's a star over Al-Uzza's head. Al-lat, who's got the sun above hers, and Manat, and they represent three faces of the divine feminine, which I always talk about four faces, but in classic feminist spirituality, we've got Maiden, Mother, and Crone. So Al-Uzza is the maiden aspect of this triad, and she is considered to be a love and fertility goddess at the same time, and I'll tell you a little bit about her story, her mythology. At the same time that she's also revered as a fierce warrior and protector. So let's take a look at some of that, so you get a sense of how you can draw on her qualities. If she resonates with you, of course, any of the goddesses that we look at, I would love to hear. I always want to hear more. If those of you know more about the ones that I present here, or if you've got ones that that you'd like to hear more about or tell me more about. But she's, I appreciated about her that she was so multifaceted and apparently had many different names. And as I was reading about her, I was thinking, wow, she sounds, that like there's a Venus connection there. Turns out that she is represented in the Nabataean pantheon, in their astrology, in their zodiac, as Venus, the evening star, which is where she gets that association with being a love and fertility goddess. So a great one to call on if you need help and support in your relationships. She is, it was said that, because there aren't a lot of visual representations of her, but that the place that she descended to, that she manifested herself, was in this grove of 3 acacia trees on the road to Mecca. And that's where you could go to commune with her and to feel her presence. So acacia trees, I don't know that there are acacia trees too much in the northeast of the US, which is where I am. Maybe they have another name, but that's a place where you can invoke and call on her energy as well. Her connection as a warrior goddess is that she was referred to as the most mighty, and because she was a virgin. Remember, she's the maiden. She was the virgin warrior of Arabia, and she was a fierce warrior in any battle. And so fierce, in fact, that there's some indication that blood sacrifices were made on her behalf. But the women of Mecca would chant her name, and her consort, her partners, so that she would protect them during battle, and allow them to gain victory over the enemy. So she's kind of got that. I love that this is happening on the full moon, which is that Libra Aries polarity. She's got the love and fertility side of her, and she's got the fierce warrior side of her. She is, and the other thing, so it's interesting, she was also considered the goddess of the sea. Now, that part of the world, Arabia is basically a land of deserts and nomads, but they made ocean voyages to do their trade. And just as you see dolphins swimming alongside boats, and she was considered to be embodied in the dolphin, and they're thought to be protectors of fish and ocean life, but also of travelers and of seafarers and sailors, fishermen, and that kind of thing. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you about her? I loved one of the places, and I always include my sources, the sites that I find out more about her. I always include information about them on the YouTube description, and I'll do that, of course, this time. But I loved one of the things that I read that talked about the fact that because she's a maiden goddess, she has this fresh, new perspective on things. That's maiden energy. Maiden energy is fresh and new, but and that's the virgin energy. It's one, and I've sung probably several times. I'll sing a different chant today, because of I'm just struck by her multifaceted nature. But she is, this is what happens. I interrupt myself. I go off on a tangent. She is thought to be, so maiden energy is very much about embodying our innocence and embodying a certain amount of playfulness. So she represents confidence, vigilance, and this is where I felt like she also represented, and then I did find places that talked about how she's connected with Athena because of this, that she's someone that you call on to when you want to fight the good fight, and that she is to help you prepare. So to prepare to give an argument or be in a debate or something. Kind of the strategic side of Athena, who of course came later in the Greek times. So lots of intersections and interactions between these world goddesses that have that influence each other. And I'm talking with my dear friend Eva, who I spent the last couple of days with. We were talking about the fact that the gods and goddesses, or the god, and when it becomes absolute, and the ones that I talk about here are typically the pre-Christian Judeo ones, that once we got to Christianity, to Buddhism, to the Jewish religion, that it becomes very mono. My brain is not operating well today. One God. And what I love about looking at the symbolism and the metaphors and the qualities of all of these other more ancient gods and goddesses is that they give us this breadth of possibilities to, if you are drawn to call on, esoteric or higher spiritual connections, you've got lots of choices with all these many goddesses. So the chant, which and the other thing I wanted to mention, and I will include this link in the YouTube description, I did actually talk about the middle goddess here, who is Al-lat. I haven't done Manat yet, but Al-lat and Al-Uzza their names are often interchanged, and so they're not really sure whether they were the same goddess or not. But it's felt that when you are invoking them, you are invoking all three too. And I did one of my Inner Goddess Team videos back in October on Al-lat, and I'm not repeating a lot of the stuff that I said there because it's applicable to Al-Uzza and also Manat, who I haven't done yet. So, all of that to say, what I would love to share with you is something that represents their sun, moon, all the different connections. Manat is more connected with the moon. Sun is Al-lat, and star, the evening star, and morning star too, apparently, is Al-Uzza, who we're talking about today. And I just loved the cosmic zodiacal energy of this triple goddess, of this triad of goddesses. So this I've shared maybe once before, but not in a while. So just kind of sit back, take it in. The words will be, I'll include them in the YouTube description if it resonates with you. So the chant I want to share with you kind of touches on the ideas of power, and that we contain the power, that fierce warrior goddess energy of Al-lat, but also the hope and the sun and the moon. Without further ado. We are the power in everyone, and we are the dance of the moon and the sun. We are the hope that will not die, and we are the turning of the tide. We are the power in everyone, and we are the dance of the moon and the sun. We are the hope that will not die, and we are the turning of the tide. So, if she resonates with you, go off during this Ramadan, Passover, Easter, full moon time, and think about where in your life you would love support around love and relationships, or around having the confidence to really stand your ground in a debate or in some kind of upcoming challenging situation. Thanks so much for being with me. And I will not be here next week. I will be on vacation with my family, yay. But stay tuned for more Inner Goddess Team videos. And please, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you with ideas and thoughts and whatever you got for me. Namaste. Bye for now.